And what in heaven's name brought you to Casablanca?
My health. I came to Casablanca for the waters.
The waters? What waters? We're in the desert.
I was misinformed.
He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
You're tearing me apart!
What?
You say one thing, he says another, and everybody changes back again!
We do not have that problem. We have Senator Rob Kupec on the program with us. He tells us the way it is, and we just go with it. Senator, how are you?
Good. How are you this morning?
Good. I appreciate you being on the program. I hope you have plans for the week. Merry Christmas to you and yours. I don't know if I've told you that yet. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Same to you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I love the holiday season, so it's I look forward to this week.
No complaint. I mentioned we're doing Christmas Day and the next day off here, which I'm very excited about that, but we'll have some new stuff we're mixing in with some old stuff. It'll be a lot of fun, but it's a little extra work to get off. It's a strange, my wife's off for 2 weeks for school. It's like, hey, I can't wait. And it's just like you got to find stuff, and it's a whole other thing. And I'm not whining, but it's just a little different.
It is. It is absolutely different. And I worked in media for a long time, and
yeah.
In television, somebody's always stuck working a holiday. Sometimes just because you're the boss does not mean you're getting all the holidays off.
That's exactly right. I want to talk a couple of interesting stories that came out because I really think your side of this will be interesting to hear. So the Republicans did their South Central state, whatever they want to call it, and they did their poll, their straw poll, not locked into anything, but it kind of shows you where people are. And Mike Lindell, who Truth in Advertising advertises on the program here, so it doesn't mean I can't say what I think about him. But he gets in and ends up in 4th or 5th place. I think it was a decent showing for 1 week in. But you know how this stuff works. The people that go to that stuff they're married to politics, right? This isn't casual guy drives down the road and just think, okay, I know Mike's name. These are those that are in there. And Donald Trump all but gives his support to Mike Lindell over the weekend. The other's got to be crushed, right? What are your thoughts on that? He actually picks a winner or a loser this early on.
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't have the best track record of just because he endorses somebody doesn't mean they actually get it or they actually win. So there's that. But I would think, particularly there are some other people within that field that have been courting, his endorsement. And then suddenly Mike Lindell jumps in and they just got left out in the cold. So
and half of Minnesotans are like, why do you want Trump's your support? Because back to these are those people, right? These are the diehards that go to this stuff to give the endorsement, right? They're going to give an endorsement at some point, the Republicans. So when you throw a MAGA guy like Trump and he says, I'm throwing it this way, that does bring with it a few points, right? It's going to give you some votes.
Yeah.
So that's what's got to bother them.
It is. And we have, this system we have doesn't necessarily give us the best candidate at the end because there's this convention of these really people like you've just talked about who are in the room and they're like, oh, and then to the average person out on the street, they're like, what? No, we don't really,
See,
so.
And there are times that this shows itself, right? Donald Trump, he was not the establishment's mold that they were looking for, but folks wanted something different. You look at Jesse Ventura here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on how we can get rid of this system, this whole, is it just early on, do a primary, 8-10 months earlier so that we can see who the people want, or then is it name recognition and only the Kupecs will win because you've been on TV forever?
I don't know. The other thing is like if we move the primary earlier, then the election season gets longer, and that I don't know that anybody wants that either. But there has to be, and I think even in Minnesota we're trying to move towards a primary and away from the caucuses. I think caucuses are probably not, are not the best way to do this. But yeah, the nominating convention, I don't know. I don't know. In 2018, Tim Walz did not have the nomination out of the convention and went to the primary and won. So you can still do it, but
it's just harder. But the caucusing froze. I tried going through this to see the process because I think I'm politically minded enough. I went through my caucus. You go to the local thing. That's fun. Meet your neighbors. Hey, how you doing? We're having some fun. Then you got to go to the Saturday. 4-hour thing, and then you're okay. I want to put my name up to go to the central region, and then you go there, and then by the time you get the central whatever they called the thing, first the time I want to say it was 4 or 5 Saturdays of just absolute talking nothing but politics, which is tough for anybody. But then the cost. Now you got to go up to wherever it was at, and you had to get a hotel room, and it's like, you know what? You could see the week being weeded out, right? If you're really not into it, and that doesn't probably give us our best. I don't know how to get around it, but I never went back. I tried it one time, said I'm not doing this.
I think I've actually never gone to a state convention. The biggest I've done the county convention. Okay. And I remember, and it's the walking caucus, and that's the weird one where you walk around and you go into these, and I was at one. It was back when Franken was running, right?
Okay.
And it was Franken, and then it'd be Franken and like Clinton running for president and this.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do one where I was like Franken and Stein and go off in the corner, the Frankenstein caucus or the Franken and Beans caucus and go to the other corner. Just to
see,
like
Kupec, that's why you don't get, that's why your side gets mad at you. That's funny as all get out. That is funny.
That's why I'm in the dad joke caucus, because this is the way our minds think about this.
That's rock solid, buddy. Okay. So anyway, I think that him all but endorsing somebody's going to change stuff. Let's switch topics. I get your side, and I'm going to speak for your side because I get your side. Once President Trump came out and mentioned the $1 billion, and we're going to go at it here in Minnesota. The paper tried to do a thing. It isn't $1 billion, but the spotlight was here, and the Department of Education and Transportation. I mean, the Girl Scouts are coming after. We're going to find this fraud. Now the U.S. Attorney General comes out last week and says it might be $9 billion. Well, Walz now over the weekend, I don't see any evidence of $9 billion in fraud. And when you're arguing that detail, I think you're losing, right? Because let's say it only comes in at 8 or 7, or let's just, good God, go back to the $1 billion. That's right. Enough to make me mad. Don't argue with me about whether it's, you know what I'm saying? When you're arguing, you're losing, I think.
Right.
Am I wrong?
You're not, but on the, I guess on the other hand, the thing that I am concerned about is clearly there's a problem.
Oh,
it's a large sum of money, however you slice it.
Yep.
And now, obviously not only the political, a legitimate political talking point of like, you've got this, but now I think you never know, like where is somebody now going to jump on this and start to really extrapolate it? That press conference was a little odd, I thought, for an U.S. Attorney General to do, and it seemed a little. So you never know, like, what our motivations behind what's going on. But
and there's no,
we want to fix the problem.
I don't want to speak for all Republicans, but there's some hogpiling going on here. I can see it. The U.S. Attorney comes out and like 5 people standing behind him. What are you doing there? You don't even. At some point, just move aside. Let's talk. We're hogpiling, okay? But that's because we smell, what is it, blood in the water, right? I got it.
Sure.
But that being said, I don't care. I don't care if this comes out to be $800 million. Don't even reach $1 billion. I think, because there's a story today, like 90 mayors across the state have sent a strongly worded letter asking for you guys to figure this out. Is that what it's going to take? A strongly worded letter by mayors? What do we got to do? I mean, I look at you and I'm like, I know you're mad as heck at this anyway. This has nothing to do with strongly worded letters, but I'll find that story.
No, I know. Yes. I'm not sure. I mean, I think that might also just be like, we're mad, and obviously, that money, I think, they're like, we could use some of that money if it had.
Well, that's what it came down to. They're all raising their taxes, right, and it's on you guys.
But those programs are still important. So we still need to fund those. It's one of those things like, if we hadn't spent that, maybe you could have spent it over here. There's still a need that money went for. But I don't
see. Let me throw my side on this. Sure. 98 mayors across Minnesota, by the way, and complaining about they're having to raise taxes when all this fraud's going on. I have no problem with my local taxes going up. Pause. Don't get mad yet. If I saw a relatively lower statewide or federal-wide, I'm happier that my taxes are closer to home where I can go to that meeting and say, good God, what are you doing, right?
Right.
But what they're yelling at is the mandates when they come out of St. Paul. You tell me I got to do this, but you don't send money with it. That's what they're whining about. Does that make sense? If my highest taxes were local, I could understand that because I can go yell at those people. But I don't see my taxes going down at the state level or even the federal level for that matter. So that's where I think my issue comes. Does that make any sense? Is that all right?
And it is. But here, I mean, here's the other thing. Are they going to also send a strongly worded letter to the federal government who's making a bunch of cuts that impacts down? We also, I mean, I live on the border with North Dakota. And so, I mean, I think about 2023, we reworked our local government aid form. You got to remember the states just shovel a bunch of money to local governments to fund critical services. Over on the North Dakota side, North Dakota said, hey, we're going to limit how much you can raise property taxes and put a cap on. But they gave them no funding. And so I look at the city of Fargo that's like, they're in a world of hurt now trying to figure out, like, how do we fund these things and cut things? And they're trying to shift some of the cost onto Moorhead, actually, in some programs. So there's, I do think, I don't like unfunded mandates. I try to, if we're going to require something, we move it. Even like cannabis will have the regulatory part on the state. There's an impact to the local government. So there was a handful of us when we passed that. We said, hey, some of this tax has to go to local government. Unfortunately, last year they cut that out. We were not happy about that because that is, there's a burden on local governments. And so, we
got to go to break. I want to ask you about the marijuana thing if I can, because Trump came out, big thing, and he signed a big flat book telling us all about marijuana. And I'm like, oh my God, is he legalizing marijuana? It isn't what happened, as I understand. I want to talk to you about it because I think, again, back to it makes it more complicated for the guys in the field, the cop on the street to figure out, was that now medical or not? We'll talk about it with Senator Rob Kupec right after this.
Tired of one-sided media and divisive noise drowning out your conservative values? Take back the conversation with Braver Angels. Join a grassroots movement to restore civility and find common ground without compromising your principles. As a conservative, your voice matters. Share your perspective on issues like immigration and public health in red-blue workshops and help rebuild trust in our great nation. Be a leader in depolarizing America. Sign up for free at mn.braverangels.org. Braver Angels, where conservatives, liberals, and independents unite for a stronger republic.
I stand with veterans, and today I'm asking you to support Bravo Zulu House, America's first all-military sober home, helping veterans with PTSD right here in Minnesota. This holiday season, help save the life of a veteran from the cycle of hell created by PTSD and addiction. Become a member of Team Shield, a community of monthly donors protecting those veterans who have protected us. Give now at bravozuluhouse.org.
Are you kidding me?
You know that comment you said to the radio? The thing that we got wrong?
Clearly, Brussels sprouts are the worst vegetable.
Call us and let the world know your thoughts. 855-257-7469. That's 855-ALS-SHOW.
I've got him, Senator Rob Kupec, on the program. Senator, I don't care about the marijuana situation. To be quite frank, it doesn't change my life in any way. Didn't care when I went in. I just want it done well. If you're going to start a program, let's just make sure it works right. This seems like a cluster like nobody's business. The other day, the president comes on. He's going to sign some big placard about marijuana. And you're like, oh, crap. Is he going to legalize this thing? He made it a different tier drug, but it still has to be now given to you by a doctor. It isn't legal, if you will. But now if you got in your car, is it your doctor prescribed or not? It's just one more layer of what we don't know is what we don't know. I don't understand enough about why you can't get THC from, was it hemp now? Can't be in your products, but Mary Jane. I didn't do enough drugs as a kid to understand what's good and bad anymore, sir. Can you explain it to me in a minute and a half?
I don't know that I can, and it's very confusing. So on one hand, it seems like we're moving in one direction, but on the THC stuff, we're moving in a different direction. It's at the federal government, I have no idea what they're doing on this.
But it affects us down here. Now you got a poor cop guy. Got to figure out if a guy's driving drunk. If he's not driving drunk, is he high on something? And if he's high on something, was it a marijuana thing he ate and did it have hemp in it or THC? Oh my God. We did not do this well, sir. That's all I'm throwing out here. We have no clue what's going on in the world of hemp.
Right. Well, I mean, the local police here, if you're driving impaired, you're driving impaired, no matter what it is. So they can still navigate on that. And what the federal government does should not affect local law enforcement and their enforcement of the rules. I think in Minnesota, I think we looked at what a lot of the other states did. Hopefully, we learned from mistakes that were made in Colorado and other places, and we're going to do it right. But it does not help when the feds keep changing the rules from above. And the big thing is with those THC things, that those right now those are supporting not less people are drinking beer. I don't know why, but it's moved away, and our local breweries really need this. But and the other thing is it just makes it more complicated for banking, transportation. Where the federal government changes the rules all the time. So
what I don't get, because I have an old poster here of the Joe Camel guy. It was from the year I got Joe Camel. Got a poster just like it. It's cool. They banned that because you're using cartoon characters. We don't want kids to smoke, but yet we make gummy bears that'll get you high. Is that marketing to 60-year-old men? I don't think so. I'm sorry. It's a gummy bear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're just all over the place. Again, it matters not to me. It's not going to change my life, but it's shocking. Here, the last 3 minutes. Here's the last thing. The evidently management, Governor Walz, those guys are going to come out and start telling us what the Office of Inspector General Coordinating Council does. In September, he started this new council. No clue. They're going to talk with the guy, Tim O'Malley, who's now the new director of program integrity. Again, another thing out of whole cloth. Here we have it. Sir, you're a senator. What power do either of those two organizations have to fix fraud? They got great names, and that Tim O'Malley, I have no doubt he's a Superman tattoo on his chest. He's FBI guy, judge. This is right out of Central Casting. But what can they do? I don't have any idea.
Well, I'm not sure I do either. But but here's the thing. So at the minimum, we give them a title. They have the bully pulpit. We do the all the time. It's a czar of whatever. They have that attention. That's what I really prefer the path that we had taken as a legislature. We're here. We're going to give somebody with some teeth subpoena power. The whole law enforcement. That's what we really need. I think it's great if they find anything and cover it. I mean, if they do, we gave commissioners a little more power to put
but it's back to how do they? We're concerned about sending the federal government SNAP numbers, right, or whatever. Who's got SNAP? We're not doing that in the state of Minnesota. Can Tim O'Malley run over and take a look? I don't know him any more than I know the federal. You know what I'm saying? It's I don't even know if they're allowed to go snooping around.
I'm not sure either because they don't have subpoena power. I mean, that's it. It needs some teeth. I mean, I guess. Right. I mean, it depends. I suppose if the governor tells his commissioner, you got to let this guy look at your books. I mean, there is that. I suppose. I'm not sure where the executive order comes in and where how much just legal there is about some guy. I'm not sure where that is. Not
Fair enough.
Not played one on TV.
So this will go real well. It's just all going to go real. I appreciate you a ton. I want to wish you Merry Christmas to you and yours. I know you're not going to be with us next week. We'll see you in 2026. Fair enough?
All right, Senator on the other side. Sounds good.
Senator Rob Kupec on the Al Travis Show. Love that cat.
You need a friend at the Capitol who knows how to